I have two major arcana cards, the Sun and Justice. We are going through the Jupiter in Libra transit until October 2017. The Four of Swords here represents Jupiter in Libra. The cards are, and this is the Hidden Lotus spread, the cards are the Six of Cups, the Seven of Cups, the King of Wands, the Ten of Cups, the Sun, the Four of Swords, the Eight of Wands, Justice, the Five of Cups, and the Nine of Cups. So what I have is 6, 5, 6, 7, the 8 is missing, the 9, and the 10. One Wands card. Our focus in the center is the Six of Cups. This represents the Sun in Scorpio. This card is all about childhood, nostalgia, kindness, love, giving. This is our focus. And what I'm looking at here is kind of a twofold story. It is the story of this card, the Six of Cups, can sometimes be about the return of a lover or someone very dear to you. Sometimes this card can also be about having to go back home or looking at your roots, excuse me, where you come from, who do you consider family, who do you love, what do you love, how do you love, how do others love you. And this is central, I think, with Libra is ruled by Venus, and Venus is the planet of love. She's also the planet of beauty, wealth, income, and women. She also rules self-worth and self-esteem. She rules self-possessions, the things that you own yourself, the money that you make yourself, and that is directly tied into your self-worth and your self-esteem. What value do you place on yourself? What value do you place on your things? Are you being treated equally within a situation, no matter whether this is romantic or work or friendship endeavors? Now, I think for some of you, we have gone through this Mercury retrograde. For some of you, I think if someone has not returned, and we're looking at this Fire King here, which would represent the sign of Aries, Leo, or Sagittarius. If not a fire sign individual, then this will be someone whose occupation would be, they would be a leader. They would be someone who is able to marshal people together. He's able to listen to people and get everybody on the same page. He's full of energy and passion. He doesn't do a lot of work himself, but he's the one who kind of delegates it. So he would be a boss, a manager, project manager, maybe someone associated with, I'm getting causes, charities, things of that nature, because sometimes this card can show up as charity. Okay. I think for some of you, this individual has been very, very confusing for you. We have the Seven of Cups, and the Seven of Cups is the card of fantasies, illusions, delusions. It could also be about substance abuse. It also speaks to having a lot of choices and not knowing exactly which is the right one to choose for yourself. It represents Venus and Scorpio. And Venus and Scorpio is one of those kind of energies where it's very probing, it's very deep, but also it can be one that has extreme difficulty in letting something go. There's an attachment to these things. I don't even know if this is good for me, but I'm going to hang on to it anyway. So what I'm looking at in one regard is in some sense like a relationship issue. Right down the center I have the 10 of cups, then the 6 of cups, and then the 5. So this could be a situation in which an individual has there's been a lot of confusion surrounding this relationship. And we can see down the center that what was once perhaps a very good relationship, one that in essence provided everything that we need, um, and it really came from a place of true giving and true love, okay, has now kind of disintegrated. Now, this 5 of Cups, we look at the individual who is faced uh, towards those 3 cups that are spilled over. He does have 2 cups behind him. Now, in essence, I think what I'm looking at is a separation of some sort. If this separation has not occurred, perhaps it will be occurring. In the background, we see that there is an archway. And archways in the tarot represent an opportunity to take a different path now. Across the water, the stream there, we see that castle. And so I think that this is indeed perhaps either a divorce and or a separation that has come about, will be coming about. I think that, you know, I'm looking at this Mercury in Sagittarius, which is the 8 of Wands. We're going through the transit right now of Mercury in Sagittarius. It will be ending, I don't know, it was at 22 degrees Sagittarius yesterday, so it's got about 7 more degrees. It may be ending at the end of this month. And Mercury is a planet of communications, of travel, negotiations, deals, sales. He rules the internet, the voice across all mediums and all forms. And the energy of Sagittarius is one that is very, very expansive. It is ruled, Sagittarius is ruled by Jupiter. So this energy is about the guru energy, or being able to get people to listen to you without having a lot of discord, okay? So when Mercury is in Sagittarius, it can create a feeling that you're not able to express yourself, or that people don't understand where you're coming from. And no matter how hard you try, it just seems to like make the situation worse. But on the surface, the 8 of Wands is the card of travel. It could be love at first sight. It is simply about things moving quite quickly. Now, sometimes when I see this card, it can mean that whatever situation is vexing will be coming to an end, a completion pretty soon, and typically things work out okay. Now, that could be why I have this Justice card over here. This represents the actual energy of Libra. And justice is not always something that we like or that we agree with, but ultimately it is fair. That is a difficult part of justice. Everybody wants to be vindicated or to win, okay? But sometimes, you know, you have to accept whatever the consequences are, or whatever the edict is, and then try to figure out a way to pick up and move on. But do know that whatever the outcome is, that it is determined to be fair and just. It doesn't always make it right. It looks as though whatever this situation is, and this could simply be about this king. And now look, this King of Wands, we can say this is a male energy, but we're going to open it up to include anybody who may either have the attributes of this king, or will be of a fire sign. This could be a sun sign, a moon sign, rising sign. And we can see that he, in some way, is victorious over something, okay? Here he's backed by the sun, and the sun is shining on justice. So this really, if this is about a property dispute, if this is, it's a lot of cups here. So it really speaks to me as being, the cups simply represent emotion. So this is really something that someone is highly emotionally invested in. And I think what this Five of Cups is saying is that the individual or whomever's surrounding, that they're going to be receiving news. It may not, someone will. It may not be the news. We'll look at this Five of Cups like an emotional adjustment. We'll say that the person is willing to accept that loss. Why? Because they know that ultimately there's something else out there for them. Okay? And this energy here of the Sun, the Seven of Cups, is really about someone trying to hang on to something that really is no longer, it's not viable, at least from the other end. We can see here that what I'm getting, not that this is a victory here. What I'm getting is that the Sun has come to shine a light on why it is you're trying to hang on to something that no longer serves you. And when I see the Eight of Wands, this tells me that some news or some event's going to come in and show you exactly what it is that you need to be letting go of. So try to pay attention to that as much as you can. Here with the Four of Swords, we can see that someone has taken time out away from a situation. This is really what that means. It is not a weakness, and sometimes this energy can be stubborn and it wants to fight and highly dramatic, along with the fire signs. Okay, so this could be that after a time of fighting, that the sides have rested. Maybe only one side is rested, but it takes a lot more strength to take a step back from a contentious situation than it is to continue to engage. Now, as you can see, the person has the Three Swords on the wall. So to me, it's indicative of a separation, a divorce, a third party have come in. And that's what, listen, Jupiter in Libra Jupiter always brings you lots of opportunities. But when he arrives in the sign of Libra, and Libra is ruled by Venus, this typically brings about multiple relationships, okay? Some of these relationships will be good, and some of these relationships will not be good. But typically during a Jupiter and Libra cycle, and it happens every however many years, it takes Jupiter 12 years to make the circuit. Each sign gets to host him for 1 year. So every 12 years, when Jupiter comes back into Libra, what you tend to see is a lot of divorces, a lot of separations, a lot of engagements, a lot of marriages, because people are, why? It's all based on the principle of trying to find the balance, the other half that balances you. Libra rules the descendant, the 7th house. This is not only the house of marriages and partnerships, but it's also the house of open enemies. Okay, so it could very well be that what was once a very beautiful situation, now the people have become like enemies. They've been fighting. This has to do, I think, some of it with children, some of it with property, some of it with just things that are owned or have been shared with each other. But we see that someone is taking time out because something has come in between this couple. Okay, so the Three Swords are indicative of that. The fourth sword is what that person is resting on, and typically when I see this, the next stage, it's going to be time to re-engage again. So it will probably, if you find yourself in this situation, I would ask that you kind of give weight to perhaps what you think is the most important thing, because sometimes what you think is the most important really isn't the most important. If it's simple crap that you can kind of do without, maybe you need to let that go. The more things you can drop that are non-essential as you try to move through this particular change or phase, the easier it's going to be. Now, when you have business together, when you have properties together, when you have children together, that makes it a lot more convoluted and complicated. But I would, in my opinion, the best thing is to try to decide what is in the best interest of the children, if there are children involved, first. And then everything else you can negotiate. Really, what can you live without? What really, if you think about it, is a hindrance? Okay? Instead of something that's adding value to your life. You want to try to make yourself as light as possible as you move through this. So this is about shedding things. And getting rid of some things that no longer serve you, and that's across all the spectrums. This Seven of Cups energy, indeed, this person is taking, but I think they're about ready to get up and fight again. This could also be due to the fact that maybe there's been some news that has been delayed. We have had the Mercury in retrograde, where we'll be going direct, stationing direct in 2 days. But please keep in mind that there is a 2-week direct shadow phase. So this could play out all the way until the end of January. I'm going to pull the Endo-Venus. Actually, no, we're going to use the Sibilas. And I may pull the Endo-Venus on a couple of things. The first thing I want to look at is this. This could even be someone leaving this King of Wands. Okay. It ends with the Nine of Cups. Now, the Nine of Cups is known as the wish card in this deck. But for me, there's a 10th cup. You see, to get from here, from here, you're trying to go here. Okay? So basically, we can see there's been a digression, a 10, a 6, a 5. Well, this is waiting for you, but you're going to have to figure out which one of these cups you're going to let go. Okay? And look, he was under the deck. The red cap is indicative of clarity of thought. Now, this card can also be, in its negative aspect, the Nine of Cups, can be about being smug and acting like you don't need anybody. And there's a danger in that. So what I want to look at first is this Four of Swords, Jupiter in Libra. Mercury in Sagittarius. Some of this has to do, I think, with business. Mars in Scorpio can be a formidable opponent. Formidable in a very quiet kind of way. These are the people who don't express their anger outwardly, and they can wait for long periods of time to seek their revenge. So if you're dealing with someone like that, I would suggest you try to figure out a way to perhaps shield and protect yourself, or to try to come from a space of kindness and love as best you can. Whenever there's separations here, see, because right across the center, this tells me that right now it's like a time of harmony and peace. The Sun with the Four of Swords. Okay, and I think you're being, if this is the case, you're not fighting with the person anymore, you've kind of taken a break, then this is good. This is good. But eventually, decisions are going to have to be made. I sense that this is really about the kids. And the reason why I say that is I'm looking at the two children here, and the two cups. Ultimately, it's boiling down to something surrounding the children: child custody, child support. Maybe this is about trying to decide who's going to have the kids during school time, who's going to take them for the summer. It could be about vacations. Oddly, I don't see any coins here. Now, there is a card underneath, so we don't know. Let's go ahead and take a look at this Four of Swords. Yes, look. The woman with children. Melancholia, sadness or depression, but even still, it represents a time out. Someone perhaps not having the mental strength to deal with whatever's going on. And theft. Now, this is about theft of goods and services, is the actual meaning of the card. But as I always say, people can steal many things from you. Your self-esteem, your self-worth, your faith, your belief, your trust, your peace of mind, your physical energy, your spiritual energy, your emotional energy. And with all of the cups, indeed, I would say that there is a lot of... underneath this, even though the spread looks kind of good, there's a sense of real sadness here. And if anybody is going through this particular situation, I empathize with you, and know that eventually things will right themselves. It is a hard energy to separate, particularly if you've been married for a long time. And this is, you know, in a sense, it's about things being built up, having the kind of life really that maybe your friends envied, okay? But perhaps what nobody knew going on behind closed doors is there was a lot of other shit going on. Because sometimes these two cards can represent someone having an addiction, okay? And this is about the keeping up appearances, that everything is hunky-dory. But behind closed doors, we know that there was something else going on. Let's take a look at this Five of Cups. Because sometimes it's not about a actual third party person coming in. It could be about an issue. It could be drugs. It could be drinking. It could be finance, somebody gambling. It could be, you know, anything. Let's look at the Five of Cups here. Wow. Now look. The suspiri. This is the longing, the sighing, the desire, the waiting. Here, the Dottore has come in. Now, this may very well be that someone, and it could be that it is the female who has issues in this relationship with addiction. And someone has been, you know, they've been waiting a long time for them to get a handle on that. Maybe even the person has gone to rehab or clinic or therapy, but it's just not working. So now someone has decided it's time to let that go. Okay? They can no longer, and there are children. I'm getting that there are children involved in this. So then the question becomes, well, what do I tell the children about this? This could be that if this represents the father, that he will be gaining custody of the children. Or asking for custody of the children, because someone is really not in a space to be able to take care of them. And not that he's being a dick about it, but that he's doing what is in the best interest of the children. And that's what I was picking up before. Let's take a look at the Seven of Cups. Yeah. This is an odd trio of cards here. I have the Domestico. Now, the Domestico is a collaborator. He's a helper, but he also does messages. He's a helper. And then I have the Disgrazia, okay, which is a misfortunate event. It's like the Tower card. And then I have the Allegria al Cuore, which is very odd to come out on the Seven of Cups. But the message that's coming through is that this has been an enabling situation. It is someone who's been enabling that other person that has these addiction issues, whatever those may be. And finally, it has, you know, it's been misfortune all along, but the pretense, the fantasy of it, the outward projection, because that's also what the seventh house in Venus is. You project things onto your lover. The relationship is projected outward. It is the outward appearances of the relationship. The real work of relationship is done in the eighth house. How often do we have sex? How much of a mortgage can we afford? What about the credit cards? Who's going to pick the kids up? Who's going to cook the dinner? I'm working late. Can you get the kids settled? That's the real work of relationships. That's done in the eighth house. This is about the projection, the outward projection. So that's what these three cards are talking about. They're speaking about someone who's been enabling their partner in a relationship and trying to pretend or project that everything is okay. Now, this could be because we have this Eight of Wands here. It could be because they are a highly public couple. Yes? Maybe this person has a position where they have to project a certain image. I want to take a look at what's underneath this Six of Cups, because this was the Hidden Lotus spread. the moon. Well, and the moon does speak to hidden things. It speaks to also addiction, fears, phobias, but it is also the card of romance, seduction. It also represents the mother. And as you can see here, if I'm looking at this, this represents the father, the son, and this represents the mother. So this indeed is about a couple and trying to find the balance in between those two energies. Okay? And there are indeed children involved in this particular situation. I want to take these Indovenus here. So basically, I think that perhaps things will rev back up again. After the moon, we have the full moon on the 12th and the new moon on the 28th. On the 28th, it's the same day that we end that Mercury direct shadow phase. So this could definitely be about some type of movement or at least some type of discussions here. I'm getting the sense that maybe somebody is ill now, in the hospital now for something. If that is the case, it is perhaps something that is being masked or not certain. You haven't heard anything. Maybe there have been tests done and you haven't heard anything back from the doctor. Well, just know that this is Mercury retrograde, and you know, it's really not the best time to have surgery or any major things, but you have to do what you have to do. Okay? Maybe it's something with the head. Okay? Where do fantasies and delusions live? In the head. Let's take a look at this Justice card and see what the Justice card has to say. Wow, this is an interesting spread. Yeah, if I'm looking at these cards here, facing this, we're waiting on some news or we're waiting on something to come. I do feel it is something from the doctor's office. This could be simply about trying to determine what is the best way to proceed with the situation. But at the same time, I don't think this is going to deter or prevent what the outcome is in terms of the relationship here. So then the question becomes, well, what is the Nine of Cups all about? Well, now, please keep in mind, this is a general reading. This message will not resonate with everyone. Even if you find this situation familiar, I can't tell you what the ending is going to be because it's general. In order to find that out, you have to purchase a personal reading. The Sweet card, the displeasure, and the tenderness. Yes, I feel that this is speaking to someone finding out that even though there's love there, there is displeasure over the fact that someone is probably going to go ahead anyway. It could even speak to maybe there might be someone else in the wings waiting. I don't think that person is a factor right now, but the possibility is always there. But do know that if this is the case, that however it turns out, you are being reminded to have love for the children. That's the tenderness. Okay? Really, that's what it's going to boil down to. Don't be selfish. And that's sometimes how this sun with any type of fire court card can come out. It can speak about the ego. You know, and it's not, if you got kids, it's no longer about you. I don't give a shit what you think. It's not about you anymore. I want to take a look. I'm going to go ahead and look at this Eight of Wands. right quick. And then I'm going to pull an angel answer card. The pensioner. Okay, look. This is the Queen of Cups. This is the King of Cups. So it is a couple. And maybe what I described is the job that this person has, or it is their personality, no matter whatever their real sign is. Hope. Well. And a dark-haired man. Now, I don't know if this dark-haired man is describing this king. That's interesting. Now I'm looking at it, it is distinctly male energy coming off of this. One angel answer card. We're going to leave that Nine of Cups there. Okay. It's a wish. That's it. Doesn't mean anything. It's a wish. Not saying that your wishes don't count, but it's a wish. And as Justice is here to tell us, we don't always get what we wish for. And then sometimes we need to be very careful about what we wish for. That's why we're going to leave that card there. No matter what, the card says no need to worry. I don't know what that means. Only you can determine what it is, why you don't need to be worried. That's what I have for you. If you want to book a reading or you want more information about my readings, you can simply click on the little I and the information. That'll take you directly over to my website. My turnaround time for readings by phone and video readings is between 48 to 72 hours. Please, if you'd like to book, make sure that you read the important information on booking first. Follow the instructions and the prompts. And I'll be coming back to you guys in a few days with the start of the monthlies. Until then, namaste.